Warning, this video contains simulated blood and fake body parts and some suggestions of violence. So parents, please view this video before showing it to the very small.
Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Here we go with the witch's fingers. I'm going to also call these severed fingers for Halloween. You're going to need some sugar cookie dough. You could use any recipe you want. I'm going to suggest a recipe in the description box. This particular dough that I'm holding here is actually from a packaged mix. I had made some Patrick from SpongeBob cupcakes and I had made some cookies. I didn't use all the dough. I put it in the freezer. So I took it out, let it defrost, and now I'm using the sugar cookie dough. So take off a small section and you're just going to roll it out between your hands to make a long sausage shape. And you want it to be about finger sized. Then you're going to mold it into a finger shape, which basically means you're going to have a section in the center roughly that is a bit bigger because your knuckle is a little bit bigger in the center of your finger. And then you're going to cut some slits into the cookie using a sharp knife. This just simulate the shape of the knuckle because you do have little lines on your fingers. Don't go down too deep, about a quarter of the way through is enough. This particular sugar cookie dough holds the details very well after it's baked. Remember to make these a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner than a real finger because they are going to puff up a bit when they bake. For the fingernails, you're going to need some whole blanched almonds. Blanching only means that in this particular case that they've removed the brown coating on the top of the almond to make them white. Press it into the end of the finger. And just form the dough around the finger just so that it looks like the end of a finger. And then the knife, cut the slits for the knuckle shapes. I suggest you put the fingernail in first and then cut the marks for the knuckles. It's just easier. And then place them on a greased cookie sheet or one that's covered in parchment paper or a silicone mat and bake them at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes, but that'll depend on the recipe, of course, that you're using. Basically, you want to bake them until they are just light brown on the bottom. This one's a bit overcooked, actually. It shouldn't be quite that brown. Now, to finish it off, you're going to need something red. You can use some red gel icing, or in this case, I'm using strawberry jam, and I've added a little bit of red food coloring to it just to brighten it up, to make it a little bit more red. You put a tiny little dollop, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, in the nail bed after you remove the almond, and then replace the almond over top of the jam or the gel and just press down and it'll squish out around the nail. Just like that. And that's basically a completed finger. You can leave them just like that and they're pretty cool just on their own. You can even add food coloring to your cookie dough if you want to make them green. Now if you have some older kids or you want them to look a little bit more gross or creepy for Halloween, you can add some of the gel icing or the strawberry jam at the ends of the fingers to make them look like they've all been cut off. Now I took this a step further. If you're going to serve these on a Halloween treats table with a bunch of other ghoulish treats, you can add a little bit of detail like I did here. More blood, which is jam, and a knife to make it look like you just cut them off and just serve them to your guests. Give it a try.